Attention!
Welcome to the Film Mages Podcast, where the popcorn is our ammunition, the couch is our foxhole, and the cinema is our place of worship.
Now let me see your war face.
All right.
Hello, everybody.
whoa.
What?
The meeting
What?
is being recorded. Zach, what are you doing, buddy? I just got a notification from Zoom saying that you're recording this. We're not uploading these things, are we?
Don't you have to get my permission before you record my likeness?
I'll have to do shit. I own the Film Majors.
I was
I
told
own
that
this whole
this
goddamn
was.
operation.
I was told that this was being done in confidence. What the hell?
Nope. Sorry, buddy. I own both of your images in perpetuity. I talked to David Zaslav. I've been scanning both of you this whole time. I'm going to eventually host this show with two AI co-hosts. And hello. Welcome to the Film Majors. I am Zach.
I am Mick.
I would just like to say you cannot replicate Alexis.
It's Alexis.
Not like this.
Well, you know who else we can't replicate? We can't replicate our first guest of 2024. Who
That's
do we
right.
have with us here?
Y'all have your boy Walterdoom, man, from Let's Talk About
Walterdoom.
Horror. Yep, horror
Hello,
universe.
hello.
horror
Welcome to
community
the
up in
show,
here.
Walter.
I'm glad to be here. Glad to be here with
yeah,
y'all.
welcome to the shit show.
Yeah, and Walter, it's definitely your first time being here. In no way is this show cursed for the movies that we are most passionate about from the year 2022. Our episodes, when we talk about that topic, have a tendency to get lost. We talked about Elvis, and we had to do it twice, and here we are again.
The movie
it
that's
must
so
be fair.
nice, we did it twice. Is there such a
yes,
thing as a bad
Walter-
miracle?
Ooh, God, he's coming in hot. He's
I
doing
know.
better the second time around.
I know, seriously. When I have these
yeah,
quips,
well-
like, you have to ask, like, what's going on with Mick, right?
Oh,
You
good.
did it.
Good one, man. Oh, he's leaning into the Zoom. That's how proud he is of that. Oh, he's ducking around. Oh, he's doing a line. He can't be stopped.
Never forget that this podcast is a visual medium.
Technically, today, it could be. This is the first time we've actually captured images on this podcast.
Wait, is this going to be our first YouTube upload?
I mean, fuck it, it could be.
I just did a Schedule 1
Could be,
narcotic on
technically.
camera. You can't upload this to YouTube.
Hey, it
I'm
wasn't
not
on
gonna
the
get that
camera. It's
monetized.
fine. It's fine. For legal reasons, that's a joke. Now, Walter, what have you been watching lately, man? What sort of films have you been viewing?
Okay, so I've been viewing quite a bit. I was sick at one point, so one of the films that I've watched was Tupac's All Eyes on Me, the biopic, and
Okay.
I thought it was all right. My mom, she loved it. That's the reason why I watched it, because she watched it. So I was like, all right, let me go ahead and check this out. So yeah, at first, like, it starts off pretty good. You know, he's in jail. He's talking about his life, his background, and what have you. And I mean, I thought it was really interesting, just them kind of like backtracking on his backstory. But then after he gets out of jail, that's where it just becomes sheer like a shit show of just like trying to hit all the key points of Tupac's life before he got shot and everything like that.
Yeah.
So for me, I thought it was just like an all right movie.
Yeah, I feel like that's a classic thing with, like, we've discussed music biopics on this show a couple of times, including in our lost episode. But
Oh, that's true.
If you're looking for trouble,
no, I'm not looking for trouble. I'm not looking for trouble.
place.
I've come to the wrong place,
Zach,
because that's the opposite of what I was looking
hate
for.
that you pretend to hate Elvis so much, and I'm sure you do hate it, but you purposefully always sing an Elvis song in my honor at karaoke. So, like, how much can you really hate
Listen,
it? You know?
you get the music fucking beaten to your head for a full calendar year by two people who fucking love Baz Luhrmann's Elvis, and you know.
You know how many
Zach, don't
Walter,
worry.
you don't even know how many times we would like put the songs from the movie just on when we'd be like setting up or like striking the fucking podcast setup.
I don't want to get into it too much because later we're talking about our big topic, so we'll get into Elvis. Don't worry.
I fucking hate you.
But Zach, I feel the same way because I find myself humming Ice Spice songs from time to time, and I'm like, I can't stand
Nice.
Ice Spice, but I end up going like
It's in there. Well, I myself watched one film since we last recorded, and that was Spike Lee's Bamboozled, which is a very good movie that made me feel like garbage. I'm glad I saw it. It's a real bleak look at the film industry and the entertainment industry, and how black artists and creators are treated. It also has Damon Wayans doing one of the most insane fucking voices I've ever heard from a lead character. Oh my god, what is his name it's Pierre Delacroix. That's how he sounds. That's how he sounds for the entire movie. It's crazy. For a film that is like as like seriously minded in its subject matter as it is, it's just like this bizarre, like, comedic choice that makes you feel like you're in like a David Lynch movie and also like a Richard Pryor act at the same time. It's crazy. There are no other movies like it. I highly recommend it. But yeah, real bleak stuff.
Wow, a Richard Pryor and David Lynch combo that's being done by Spike Lee sounds like the coolest thing I've ever heard.
It's a very good movie. It's also a little connection to the Tupac movie, the Tupac story. It's got a good performance from Jada Pinkett Smith.
Yeah, that's awesome. Although,
It's funny. I also have a
Alexis, really?
yes, Mick.
Oh my god!
Really?
Yes, Mick.
Yes. I could watch. I don't think I could watch Bamboozled without being triggered. Because this is a story that I haven't told you guys before, but actually I had a nightmare last year about the Wayans brothers. So, yeah, it's weird, but I was the victim of a home invasion by the Wayans brothers. And I was working on a movie at the time with this woman named Bethany, and she was in the dream, and I was just panicking so much because the Wayans brothers were trying to get in through the windows, and they were on the roof, and I was panicking and crying, like, Bethany, why are the Wayans brothers doing this? Why are they doing this to us? And she just slapped me in the dream and said, Mick, you're asking the wrong question. What you should be asking is, how do we survive the night? And I told her that over lunch the next day. And it's an absolutely true story. So I have to be careful watching the Wayans brothers. But honestly, though, all joking aside, that sounds like a dope ass film.
Well, hey, speaking of home invasions real quick, this is not film related. Nice, Mick dabbed for those of you listening.
Wow.
But speaking of home invasions, in terms of what's going on, I had to break into my own apartment this afternoon because I locked my keys in my car in the garage. So I had to first break into my home and then break into my car, both of which I succeeded at. And it's a little troubling how easy it was.
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
Where was our
huge
roommate at the
concern.
time?
The roommate was out doing Uber Eats. And my
Wait a
other
minute, so-
roommate, Mick, is in the Bay.
Wait a
So-
minute. Did you? He means the Bay Area. I'm not in the Bay. I'm not sleeping with the fishes. But thank you, Zach.
Not yet.
Did you get into the apartment first, and then Wait, where did you get the
I
coat
broke
hanger?
into the coat hanger I got from the apartment. I had to break into the apartment first.
But how did you break into the apartment without a coat hanger?
I don't want to talk about it, but it was
Window.
Embarrassingly easy. We need to up our security game here, buddy.
Wait, did you get in through the window?
Of course I got in through the window. It was so easy.
Of course.
Really? It just slid open?
You guys haven't.
Yes, we need to get like a
single pane
dowel.
windows.
Yeah, we need to get like a dowel in there. And if you're
Yeah.
getting any ideas, listeners,
I'm
at
not
this
worried-
point I've already put the dowel into the window.
I'm not worried about people getting in. I'm worried about, getting out. That's a problem. I don't want an apartment that's easy to escape.
Oh, yeah. We want to keep Jacoby trapped here. I mean, what? Huh? So, Alexis, what have you been watching?
You know, I actually watched a movie that had Tupac in it. I watched 1993's, directed by John Singleton. Did we do Boys in the Hood last?
No.
Or did we do Love and Basketball last?
2 weeks ago was Boys in the Hood.
Oh, 2 weeks ago. I'm losing track of time. Anyways, I watched Poetic Justice. It also stars Janet Jackson and Regina
Paul.
King.
No, yeah, Regina King.
Is also in. Yeah, I was like, I want to make sure that I'm remembering that correctly. But yeah, he's Tupac. I like the movie. It's kind of like a family. I don't know if I should say family classic necessarily, but all the women in my family seem to find this one comment about Punani just like hysterical.
Well,
and even
what comment is that, Alexis?
Yeah, what is the comment?
Let's not breeze past
What's
the
the
Punani.
comment?
Let's get closer to the Punani.
here's-
Let's spend some time with the Punani. Let's pay some
Here's the
attention to the
context,
Punani.
okay? Yeah, let me tell you. Let me paint a picture for you, okay? Tupac's character,
It's a sexy
his
picture.
name is Lucky, kind of hot, is a mailman, and he comes by the hair salon where Janet Jackson's character Justice works, and he's trying to hit on her and be all slick, and she's like, "Come here, come closer," you know, like gesturing towards him so she can whisper in his ear, right? And he's trying to get her number, and she just like whispers in his ear, "Do you want to smell my punani?" And it's just like the wildest thing to say because the rest of the exchange like is kind of her like kind of dressing him down a little bit. So it's fun because he kind of walks off from it like all pissed off. So it's kind of funny, but yeah, I don't know. I've just like my whole like for like I don't know like the last 10 years I've always heard my sisters like tell me, "Oh, I can't believe you haven't watched Poetic Justice." You know, the Punani comment, it's like so funny, and now I finally have the context. Also, Maya Angelou is also in this movie, and she does all the poetry for it.
Fuck yeah.
That Justice's character writes and stuff, and her poem "Phenomenal Woman," which is Chef's Kiss, is also like in it towards the end. So
I always love it when like an intellectual randomly shows up in a movie. My favorite example of this is Dr. Cornel West appearing in The Matrix Reloaded. Just shows up.
Oh, really?
On the he's on the
amazing.
Council of Zion.
See,
he's in both of the Matrix sequels. It rules.
My favorite intellectual just popping up is probably Salman Rushdie in Bridget Jones's Diary. Like that's
oh my god,
that's a great cameo.
Especially since he's genuinely so confused by when Bridget's just like, "Where's the loo?"
Salman Rushdie, low-key, has had a few really good appearances and things. He has a whole episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm that's extremely
That's right.
funny.
Yes.
Fatwa!
Yeah, that's when he gets fatwa. That's right.
Yeah,
because that's when Salman Rushdie tells Larry David that the great thing about getting fatwa is that like women just dig you, like it's so easy to get laid. But this isn't the TV majors.
No, it's not.
This is the film majors.
Mick, what else you seen?
That's right.
Mick, what else I've seen? Oh.
Yeah, what are you seeing, man?
What have I seen? Okay. Well, speaking of music biopics, sounds like since Walter, you've seen one, I've seen one as well. I saw the new Bob Marley One Love. And I enjoyed it. I did. I know it doesn't sound like I did, but I did.
Yeah, you seem like you have some reservations.
I know this isn't. I know I'm not being
conflicted.
Convincing right now with my tone, but
No, I'm not buying this at all.
Here's the thing. It's very standard. It's your standard format for your music biopic. You know, that's the whole joke. You know, you've seen one, you've seen them all. But I did really enjoy it. It is very beautifully shot. It does this great thing that I think a lot of music biopics make the mistake of doing, where they fall prey to taking these iconic songs, because why are you going to make a music biopic if it's not about, you know, someone fucking popping, someone that we all love, and they have these great songs that we want to listen to. But at the same time, they cram it into a montage, or they just shave it down because, like, oh yeah, you know, they know this song, they get the gist. But One Love doesn't do that. Like the first time we see him in concert with the Wailers, you know, the lights are down on the stage, the camera's out where the audience is, the camera gets some like panning shots of the crowd, and all of the extras that they got looks very convincing. Doesn't look like they scrolled through central casting. It looks like they went to Jamaica and it was just like, hey, do you want to be in a Bob Marley movie? Fuck yeah. And, you know, Bob Marley walks out, the Wailers walk out, they grab their instruments, the lights come up, and he just starts doing this song, and they play it from beginning to end, and it was really cool. I wish that more music biopics did that, especially like concert films. But another thing about this film is that I saw it in Dolby Atmos for the first time. I've never seen a movie in Dolby. I know people have always said like, "Oh, you should watch a movie in Dolby because the sound system is like so incredible," and it is, because you go into one of those theaters and the whole thing is just covered with speakers. And y'all, I'm telling you, if you are an audiophile or if you just love reggae music, yeah, the movie isn't like super gripping, but it puts you in there, and it's fantastic to the ears. So it's really worth watching. Like there's this jam session that happens in his living room right before there's an assassination attempt. Not a spoiler because it's in the trailer.
Spoilers, man.
And
spoilers for life.
It's really good.
Can you really spoil a biopic?
Spoilers for things that happened.
Maybe some people haven't heard of the story. Where does the Titanic really go? I don't know. I can't wait to find out.
It's like saying like, oh my god, like don't spoil Notorious B.I.G.'s movie for me because I want to know what happens at the end.
Yeah, for real.
Wait a minute, he died?
Well, he's
That's
what?
not very nice.
He's still making music, right?
But no, honestly, I will give Bob Marley One Love a recommendation. It's good, not great, but it's worth checking out if you enjoy music. I saw a great comedy called Scrambled from 2023. It's directed, stars, and is written by a very talented and charming, funny, hilarious person, Leah McKendrick. Like, she did it all. In my review, I called it the Girl Gang movie, even though it's not really about a girl gang, but it is every single department head, more or less, is done by a woman. And it's really, really good.
We love to see that.
It's really, really funny. It's worth checking out. It's about a woman freezing her eggs because she feels the cold ticking of time just kind of encroaching on her, and she wants to set herself up for success and then hopefully sell some of them eggs for some money or have a kid. Who's to say? Watch the movie. It's funny. Clancy Brown is in it, in case I need to sell it any more than that.
Clancy Brown.
So, you know.
We were watching Starship Troopers the other night.
We were. And Clancy Brown is fantastic in that movie. Yeah, so I saw Scrambled. What else did I see? I saw the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, the new animated movie from last year. It's pretty good. Pretty good.
Fun movie.
Checking out. And then I saw Dune reissue on IMAX. There's nothing to say but pass the spice.
Dune.
Pass the spice.
Dune.
The
The spice must flow.
Speaking of which, Anya Taylor-Joy was dropped as being like in Dune Part 2, which was super cool cast. I didn't see it, obviously, but I'm just saying that's some cool bit of news that came out in between the recording of the last episode. So I'm super psyched for Dune Part 2.
It's a very stacked cast.
The cast
there.
in that
It's so
movie's
stacked.
fucking crazy.
Like I said, like if Barry Keoghan was in that movie, literally everyone remotely fuckable in Hollywood would be in that film.
Jesus Christ.
Everyone is thirsting after these people, and they're all in the same movie. Especially
Murder on the Dance
You know
Floor.
what?
especially
Really-
Christopher Walken.
Oh,
You know what I really love about Barry Keoghan is like all the little crop tops that he's been sporting at all of these like press events.
all right.
I'm not gonna lie, I did not know that the crop vest look, would give me so much, but it really does.
I'm happy
It's just
for
a
you.
quick side
I'm
note.
happy.
Alexis really likes the belly button. She really likes it.
I'm like, do you have an innie or an outie?
Okay. One last thing I would like to discuss.
I've seen other movies, man. I got more movies to rattle off.
Well, we're in film news corner, so real quick, I'm also going to mention that speaking of Spike Lee, his next project has been announced, which is a a remake
Yes.
of the Akira Kurosawa movie High and Low with Denzel Washington.
Have you guys seen High and Low?
I have not.
No.
I've heard it's
No.
great.
Okay, check it out. It is a really good movie. Zach, I own it on Blu-ray, so
I might throw that on after this.
check it out. It's really, really good. However, okay, look, if we're being honest, we talked about in our Old Boy episode.
Be honest.
Listen to it.
I'm a little nervous.
That
I'm a
Spike
little
Lee
bit nervous.
did a remake of Old
Yeah, maybe not
Boy,
be honest.
which none of us have seen. Walter, have you seen Spike Lee's Old Boy?
No, I haven't.
Wait, is that the one from the 2000s?
The one with Josh Brolin.
Yeah, from the 2010s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've seen part of it, but like not really.
Okay, so
I didn't know Spike Lee directed that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's
know
why
you
I'm nervous
directed that
about
movie.
this
That's-
news.
That's an interesting choice.
Yeah, that's why I'm a little nervous. So I'm like, okay. Honestly, I love the movie High-Low, and I love Denzel Washington and Spike Lee as a, powerhouse collaboration. But remaking a Kurosawa film, I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. Only time will tell.
I will definitely watch it. I will say that.
Yes, I agree with that. And then so last two movies that I've seen is Perfect Days by Wim Wenders. I've never seen a Wim Wenders film
Wim
before.
Wenders.
And I liked it. It's really good. It's very.
I really want to see that.
It is good, Alexis. I think you'll really like it. It's one of those
I think I will
films that actually this is. Once you see it, Alexis, you'll see what I'm saying is kind of a pun, but it's very much a snapshot of just a man's life who's perfectly content doing something completely mundane, and there's something kind of honorable in that, and it's very, very beautifully shot. It's a beautiful story, but I won't lie, it did get long in the tooth for me.
Is this a sensitive person's movie?
Not really.
Is this a movie about the small feelings?
Not really. It's more of
okay.
just like watching a guy do his job.
Sounds like a movie that might be a little bit about
Is
the small
it
feelings.
a slice of life?
It is a slice of life. It is definitely a slice of life. But honestly, looking at Wim Wenders' work, his back catalog, I want to watch more of his stuff because there's some
Isn't he did Paris, Texas,
Yeah,
right?
I've never seen that.
I've never seen any of his stuff,
Yeah.
and I know Paris, Texas is really famous. But there's this quote that's at the end of the film, and by end of the film I mean after the end credits, called Como Rebi. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation of that, so our Japanese listeners, please forgive me. But Como Rebi is like a Japanese term for sunlight shining through leaves, and it only happens for an instant. That perfect, it's almost like a philosophical thing, like the perfect moment where the sunshine is combining through the leaves and creating this particular kind of shade, and that kind of plays into the film. And there's these crazy black and white Komorebi abstract motion visuals that happen, I'd say maybe 15 to 18 times throughout the film. They just kind of happen. And it did make me think I'm watching an old school auteur director still kicking ass, doing that kind of stuff.
Nice.
So it's a very quiet film. I think it's worth checking out. The performances are fantastic.
Mick.
Yeah.
If you like that, I think based on what I've kind of heard and looked at, Wings of Desire, his 1987 movie, is something that you'd probably really like then too.
That's literally that was one of those things where after I watched this movie, I went into Letterboxd and I saw that poster because I'm familiar with that film because he has the angel's wings, which is just so striking that I was like, I'm adding that to my watch list. And I open up and it's like, this has been added to your watch list a long time ago. And I'm like, fuck.
Classic.
I'm ahead of myself.
So a classic.
But so yes, I saw Perfect Days. Also, the music he listens to, because he has this huge collection of 8-track tapes, is literally the exact playlist that I have that I've curated on Spotify. We listen to the same music. The man has great taste. 10 out of 10. And then lastly,
Mick has been sold.
I finally saw oh my God, I finally saw All Dirt Roads Taste of Salt. The movie that I worked on in Jackson, Mississippi in 2022. I was the key set PA, and it was my first travel job, actually, now that I think about it. The first time I was sent off someplace to go help make a film. And first of all, it is absolutely beautiful. It is absolutely gorgeous. It's a very tender story, but even like you think, like, and I saw these both on the same day. I thought Perfect Days was light on plot. All Dirt Roads Taste of Salt is just nothing.
It's a vibes movie.
It's got no plot. Like most of the movie is just like hands, like shots of hands. There is a story that's happening. It's these fragmented, impressionistic views and interpretations of the life of this woman, and it's completely nonlinear. At one moment where she's a young girl, at another moment she's an old woman, then she's a teen, and then she's back to being a girl, and there's just it's just like kind of all over the place. But it was actually a really, really sweet film. Made me cry, actually. There was this one scene in particular, a dancing scene that I remember on the day we were shooting it, and the first AD told us to go to monitor to watch what was being shot because it is special. And seeing it in a private screening, no less, was really, really cool. And we didn't get invited to a private screening. I went to the theater to see it with my girlfriend, and no one else went. So it was basically a private screening. So it's too bad. It's A24 financed it. It's worth checking out, honestly. And honestly, for Black Cinema Month, it's a serious contender as just being something that you should watch, because like you can count like on one hand the amount of professionally trained actors or industry affiliated actors that were involved with that project. Most people, and especially all the extras, are just ordinary folks from Jackson, Mississippi, or from the South that are in the film, and it brings an authenticity to it that I think is palpable.
You had a blast. You had a blast in Jackson, Mississippi. I remember you talking about how much you like Jackson.
Oh, yeah. Didn't you come back from Mississippi and you were, like, obsessed with drinking whiskey straight with, like, a twist of, like, orange or some shit?
Whiskey.
It's weird how he was also,
Pretty
like,
much.
wearing, like, a Colonel Sanders suit, and he was like, oh, how you doing now? Like, I didn't like the vibe that he was bringing at all. It was really toxic, not good.
God.
And,
Yikes.
everyone tweet about that.
Okay.
Make sure, Mick, you're on Instagram, right? You're Mick T. Munya, right? Something like that? Okay,
Yes.
good. Yeah, everyone, you can find him there. Just really send him some messages about that.
Anyway,
You make it sound like he was dressed like Yosemite Sam or something.
yeah, that was not good.
What's
I
Yosemite
just want to go on record
Sam?
that none of that happened. I had a good time making that movie.
That's just what I heard.
All right.
Oh, my God.
But yes, I saw some good
Okay,
stuff.
you know what? I have some news that I actually haven't told you guys yet
news?
because I have heard about it first today, which is very exciting. But I worked on the Los Angeles unit of this movie called Shirley that is dropping on Netflix on March 22nd.
Tight.
And it stars Regina King, and I've been just watching a bunch of her movies recently.
Nice.
And she's so nice. I don't even care if the movie's not fucking the best thing I've ever seen, because Regina King has my support for the rest of her life. She is the sweetest woman. Like, I literally she had no reason to know me at all on this set, like I was in the shadows most of the time. And she like hugged everyone on her way out the last day. She was so sweet. I literally have not been as starstruck as the moment when she gave me a hug. Like, I literally just like, it was really funny. I had a coworker like across from me. She hugged me and like left. And then like, I just started crying. And, like, coworker was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, no, I'm fine." And then somebody from costumes came by and they're like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And I was like, "It's fine. Regina just gave me a hug." And then she was like, "Oh, okay." And like continued walking. And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed by myself right now."
That's funny.
But she's lovely. I love her. Shirley, the movie is about Shirley Chisholm, who was the first black woman to be elected to Congress, and she also tried to run for president. I think it was in 1972 or sometime around then. Yeah, so go watch it. My name will be in the credits, I hope.
Nice. Hell yeah. Nice.
Well, do we have anything else? Walter, anything else you want to discuss during what's going on?
Yeah, well, as far as like movies that I've watched, or are we talking about something else? Or,
Oh no, whatever you
yes.
want.
Okay, yeah.
I also have movies.
Yeah, last night I watched Lolita for the first time, the Stanley Kubrick film.
Wait, how was that?
That's an interesting one.
Okay.
I haven't seen it.
I have.
Yeah, I would have to say, truly, this movie was definitely ahead of its time, and it was definitely taking a very big risk considering what the subject matter was on.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't that movie made during the Code? That movie was like during the Hays Code, I think. So they couldn't really like discuss
The
what the
30s?
Sorry,
movie
that was my
about.
Siri.
When did Hays Code
You're
end?
good. I think that the Hays Code was still in effect when Lolita was made.
Okay, well, you guys go on talking because I'm going to fact check you.
All right, fact check away.
Yeah, but when I was watching it, the main character, they kind of try and hide like the fact that the main character did have relations with the daughter in the film, and I mean, it's like if you didn't know the story about Lolita based on because it is based off of a novel, which I didn't know it was based off a novel at first, but after reading up on it and reading about what was up with the novel, you can kind of tell scenes where supposedly the incidents happen with him and the daughter. And it's funny that, well, not funny, but it's kind of weird that they try and hide it a little bit in the movie, but they eventually kind of establish the relationship close to the end. Oh yeah, they did have something going on.
Yeah.
Icky.
It's
Yeah, I really wanted to say that it's not funny, haha, but it's funny weird.
Yeah, very, very fucking weird.
I think the weirdest thing in that movie is that you also get Peter Sellers
Yes.
kind of doing a funny haha performance. He's
he was the worst character in the movie.
He's a dreadful person, but he's doing bits and characters. That's a fucking strange movie.
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to watch it. I think I'm gonna have to watch it. I'm gonna have to power through.
It's a weird fucking movie.
That is correct. That is a Hays Code film because that came out in '62, and the Hays Code was finally lifted in 1968.
Yeah, because that's why they couldn't discuss what was going on. Well, speaking of what's going on, I think we can probably go ahead and wrap up what's going on.
Why? Hold on.
Why?
Excuse me. There is something that is going on that we haven't gotten to. There's something that's going on with Walter. Walter, I don't think we've mentioned this, but do you do a podcast, man?
Yes, I do.
What's
do a
going
podcast.
on with that? We should plug that.
I was listening to a little bit of it earlier today.
Well, there you go.
Okay, that's what's up. Yeah, the name is called Let's Talk About Horror. You can find that podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and I mean, considering that this is distributed through Podcast for Spotify or Spotify for Podcasts or whatever the fuck they call this place now.
Yep.
Used to be Anchor, but now they changed the name because Spotify owns it. So they distribute to all different networks that are streaming podcasts. And also, if you want to follow me, you know, I have Instagram and TikTok, which is under Walterdoom Horror. I don't have X, so if you guys or anybody that's out there listening are wondering what the X account is, I just deleted that recently because it is a total wasteland.
Get out of there.
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring that up because I realized like listeners might be like, this Walter guy's cool, but like, who is he? Why is he here? We have a fellow podcaster on, folks. I just wanted the listeners to know that.
We've brought someone on here who genuinely talks about movies as well. So
yes.
Yeah.
Don't tell us we don't bring enough experts on this show.
Zach. Mm-hmm. I promise I can do this in less than 5 minutes, but I have like 4 other movies that I saw.
Okay, rattle them off.
This is the film majors, after all.
Alexis is like, I need those films out there. Like,
Yeah. Okay, so I played an Uno game with my sister and my nephew last week. Did not go well. Don't play with 8-year-olds who don't like to lose. It's a bad idea. It was like literally like we were starting a family feud in that kitchen.
I mean, Uno breaks up families,
okay.
you know?
It really does, but like me and my sister were having a good time with it. You know, we were crushing each other, but unfortunately also crushing him in a couple of the rounds. Did not go well. It was bad. You know, we watched You're Next later on, which is a 2011
Good movie. Adam Wingard.
Kind of low budget, but like I think it's really fun. It's kind of one of my favorite. Like, would you consider it a slasher?
Oh, absolutely.
It was definitely a slasher.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's got this kind of like home invasion, kind of like the strangers thing going on at first, and then it turns into something else. And I find it really fun. I really like some of the deaths and obviously the motivation's a fun factor, and the main female character that's like a badass because she comes from like this survivalist compound. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out if you love kind of like a little bit of gore.
I do.
Yep, and Ty West is in there getting killed.
Yep.
Yes.
Again, I cannot remember for the life of me who he was in that movie, and so it's interesting. Anyways, I've also seen Mudbound, which is a 2017 movie that stars Carey Mulligan and Garrett Hedlund, who's a very, very attractive man, and Mary J. Blige. And, good movie. It's rough. You know, like the ending's kind of rough. I guess more of the beginning and middle's not as bad, I guess. But part of it is kind of like this guy coming back from war and realizing, oh yeah, like I was treated like a human, you know, when I was a soldier, and now coming back to the South, I am nothing. And then, you know, the KKK show up at the end, and, you know, just in shocking news, bad news.
Never good.
Don't like it.
Never good.
Not a good time.
They always fuck up the party.
Yeah. They really did. I literally saw a guy with white sheets just pop out, and I was like, oh, nope, about to get real fucking bad in here. Mm-hmm. I thought this couldn't get worse. Nope, yep, definitely. And then if you want like a fun little trip to the theater to turn off your brain and all the serious things going on in there, you should go check out Lisa Frankenstein, written by Diablo Cody and directed by Zelda Williams, Robin Williams' daughter. It was fun. I had a lot of giggling. I took my dad to see Anyone But You as well, and we had fun with that. A lot of giggling. Maybe not like the best rom-com I've ever seen, but I feel like it's kind of bringing back that fun vibe. There's a lot of like Shakespeare quotes because it's technically, whatchamacallit, based on a Shakespeare play.
Is that the one with Glenn Powell?
Yes.
It is the one with Glenn Powell. Honestly, him and Sydney Sweeney are like banging in this movie.
We now cannot ever release this as a video episode because of the face that Mick just made. That'll get us demonetized on YouTube.
You know what's so funny is that now we're gonna have to think about that.
Yes,
because you guys have made some very questionable faces on here. Maybe it's just Mick. I take it back, Zach. I don't think I've ever seen you make a very sexual face like that before.
Well, I have, Alexis. I see it from Zach all the time.
Jesus Christ.
I will say,
off camera.
I was not excited about the news that there was going to be a Twister sequel about Bill Paxton's son. And then the trailer dropped at the Super Bowl starring Glenn Powell. And I'm like,
That's good
all
casting.
right.
That's
Oh, it's starring
good
Glenn
casting.
Powell?
Yeah, he's playing Bill
I'll probably
Paxton's
see it
son. And I'm
then.
like, yeah, all right.
No,
all right.
I'll be there.
I'm going to watch that movie.
Yeah.
Anyways.
All right. Well, Alexis,
And then
go.
I also saw Rustin. That's the last movie that I watched, and I really liked it. I absolutely think that Coleman Domingo deserves his Oscar nomination, and I actually really like the film. And just shout out to Divine Joy Randolph. She made me cry today because I watched the video of her BAFTA acceptance speech, and it was beautiful.
Oh,
Go
nice.
watch it.
Hell yeah.
Delightful.
I didn't know she
All right.
won. That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I have to say really quickly, if you listen to a couple
This is
of
such a lot.
episodes
What's
ago,
going on?
if you listen to a couple episodes ago, I also saw Rustin, and I said how the kind of like almost like happy ending at the end has kind of bugged me a little bit, just because of like, you know, social justice films and how I said that. I think a movie that ends with kind of a spurring of almost like a battle cry of like, let's keep the fight going, I think is better. However, Alexis, I did read your review, and it did make me think of the ending a little bit differently. So now I think I'm a little warmer on Rustin now. So this is just one of those things where when you engage in conversation and you share thoughts of films and you discuss it and you enter the discourse, man. You open your mind, man. Yeah.
Well, I saw that you liked my review.
Yes.
So
Sorry, that
thank you.
sounded really like condescending the way I was saying that, but legit, that is cool. It made me.
No. I think
Yeah.
I think it's great when like you hear how somebody else like saw something and then it's like, oh, okay, I didn't see it that
Yeah.
way, and that's kind of opening my eyes to like a different possibility of the interpretation.
Yeah.
So fun. And you know what? This is a great point for us to hop out of what's going on.
Hello, everyone. I hope you enjoyed your break. We are here. We're
Nice.
at our final
Nailed it.
big
10 out of 10.
topic. I'm powering through. We're at our final big topic of Black Cinema Month.
Oh my
hate to
god!
see
This
it
is the
go.
last episode of Black Cinema Month.
Yeah, this has been a good one. I feel like I've
Yeah,
filled
this
in a
has been a
lot
really
of
good
like gaps of movies that I should have seen by now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
definitely.
you know what we're going to talk about now? We're going to talk about movies that will be discussed as, God, I should have seen that by now in the future. We're talking about future classics. Movies that are contemporary that we believe will be viewed as classics in, 20, 30 years. Films that are, let's say, have come out in the last 5 to 10 years that will stand the test of time. What are we thinking?
Little Women.
Little
Women,
obviously.
yeah.
Little Women and the big man
Bob
himself.
Dylan's Elvis is going to be a classic. I
That
stand
movie
by
will
it.
be forgotten. That movie will be forgotten.
No,
in the
it won't.
Yes, it will. It absolutely will. It's going to be
Please
forgotten.
stop deluding yourself, Zachy boy.
I'm not. In the deluge of same-ass music biopics, Baz Luhrmann's Elvis will be a fucking footnote.
Hell no, dude! You're
Absolutely.
insane.
Absolutely.
Zach, you're literally delusional.
Yeah,
like, can you even hear yourself right
The
now?
music
Listen.
biopic that has Tom Hanks as Colonel Tom Parker, I'm sorry, cannot be a
Music
footnote.
biopics often have big casts, but you know what? It doesn't
Not
mean
in a
no
fat
one's-
suit like that, buddy boy.
Yeah, biopics don't often have someone saying he was the showman
I am
and
the
I was
snowman.
the
It's-
snowman.
It's so quotable. Walter, back me up here, buddy. Please.
I haven't seen Elvis, bro.
Don't.
I think you're alone in that battle.
Save yourself, man.
Turner classic
funny.
movie in the wings, man.
Fuck.
I don't know if it's ever going to be a Turner
Elvis is going to
classic.
have his own wine, man.
There will be no such thing. So
So
Alexis,
we're
you said,
talking future classics, right?
yeah, Alexis said Little Women.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I did. You know, here's the thing. You guys know I really love that movie. I cry through the whole thing. It's based on a literary book that is, you know, considered a fucking classic from like the mid to late 1800s. And this adaptation of it, I think, just brings this literature to life for a whole new generation. I mean, like my sisters and like, you know, some people, you know, people a little bit older than me really, really dug like the 1994 version when it came out. But I personally think, you know, and I hope nobody strikes me dead for this, that Little Women's 2019 is going to be the superior adaptation, just based on all the directorial choices that Greta made. And like I literally just used this movie the other day to explain the concept of love, to like have a philosophical debate with my nephew about love. So
Yeah,
Which nephew?
I don't think that's a hot take. I think that's. I think a lot of people would agree that that's like the version now of that story. Yeah, Zach, you mentioned previously someone mentioned that
I did.
movie.
Yes.
That's like something that would be shown in like an English class.
That's going to be an English class staple going forward.
Oh yeah.
Which again is like, I think that's a great compliment that you can pay to a film. That you would show, like, not just English class, but if you would show it like in a class, like a history class too, like you're doing something right. You're doing something right if you do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Walter, let's take it into more kind of my zone of movies. What kind of films do you think might be classics in the future?
All right, so for me, like going into like the horror realm, because that's where I watch a lot of my movies.
It's where I live.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
At first, I was going to say Terrifier by Damien Leone, but you know, I mean, I feel like it's gonna be like in the cult classic area. I mean, it's already
That's
like
fair.
I feel like it's already there. People are already recognizing it, and the way Terrifier 2 just like, I can't believe they actually put that in theaters, honestly. But you know, for the fact that it actually hit theaters and it's actually gaining recognition by a lot of like audiences, just recognizing like who the hell Art the Clown is. I mean, I feel like that's already hidden into classic territory. But as far as like classic, I'm gonna definitely still go with Jordan Peele's Get Out, because it is just like
Good pick.
the film of like psychological horror films that are just amazing, like from the past 5-10 years or so.
Yeah, I think that a thing that movie has going for it is like, I think classic movies oftentimes have like iconography, like images that you can instantly say, oh, that's from this movie. And Get Out has several. I mean, obviously.
Definitely.
Both of the shots when Chris is first in the sunken place, when he's like sinking into the void and he's just hanging there in the black void, and then the shot of tears streaming down his face as he's been hypnotized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think also because of just like the topics that it talks about, you know, like just, you know, somebody of one race in a predominantly area where it's a different race and culture, and they feel kind of just like isolated, you know, the idea of isolation, even though you're in a crowded space, you know, you just feel like, okay, I really don't know if I can really relate to these people. And these people keep coming up to me stating, you know, stereotypical things.
I would have voted for Obama for a third term.
Right. And making them feel further isolated, you know. It kind of almost reminds me of college when I used to date this girl that I was dating at my school. She is like Italian, and like her family, you know, they live in like Thousand Oaks and everything like that. So when I came over, there, you know, like the family,
Walter, Get Out.
like her immediate family were like welcoming. Her cousins and them, they were kind of like they did more bashing her, like making fun of her than making fun of me. But that's just because they like to pick on her. But the thing is, they had this neighbor, and she was like a very old lady, and I can't forget it till this day, because each time they had a holiday party, this lady would look at me just like, oh my God, what is he doing here? What is DeAndre doing here? Like, is he supposed to be like our waiter or something, you know? So,
Yikes.
Damn.
so it was like this very old lady that just stared at me. And it's funny because like the girlfriend at the time, she was telling me like, yeah, just to let you know, yeah, that lady's very racist.
Oh, really?
That's so funny.
No. What? You're crazy.
It's funny because the lady never said anything to me. I guess she was probably like intimidated a little bit, but she never said anything to me. The one thing that she did say though, was I guess I can't remember what kind of party it was. I think it was still like a Christmas party, but it was like a different year. So she saw me again, and then she was like, "Oh, it's nice to see you again." And that was the only point of contact we had.
Get her out of here.
Jesus.
She didn't say anything
Fake ass
like.
people.
She didn't say anything like, "Well, you know what? I really do feel a certain way about civil rights," or like, you know,
Yeah.
or anything
it's
like
there.
that. It wasn't like, no, oh, I would have voted for Obama 5 times or anything like that. So, fortunately, because I know I had some choice words for her, and she didn't go there.
You were ready. Oh, man.
You had them in the barrel. You were ready. You were ready to pop them off if need be. I like that.
I was. I
swear to God,
definitely
if
was.
this woman goes here, that's funny.
Oh,
Damn.
man.
But no,
Well-
I agree. Get Out that's a great pick. You know, just I mean, we'll go into it later because of this episode, obviously. But Jordan Peele's work, I think down the road, 10, 20 years from now, we'll look back on his filmography. Something that hopefully he doesn't go the M. Night Shyamalan route. I don't think he will, though. I don't think he will.
Hey, why is M. Night catching strays?
Because he does bad films
What the
now.
fuck? Old is good. Old
I
is
haven't
fucking
seen-
good.
Old was good. And
Old-
then
I
he came
haven't-
out
hey,
with fucking.
I love Old. Oh, you mean the movie?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
get so old on that beach.
Okay, I haven't seen that yet. But I did see Knock at the Cabin Door.
Oh my
like
God,
that
that
too.
was a heap of shit.
That was a
honestly.
bad
what?
movie.
Oh,
That was a
come
bad
on.
movie.
You
It
guys,
was so
I don't want to
terrible.
hear it. I
I
like
watched
Knock at
that on
the
an
Cabin.
airplane and it was a mistake. It's not even an airplane movie, man.
Man, you're
I
right.
think
It's
M.
a,
Night
it's a
was on
theater
coke when he
film.
made that movie.
I liked it. I think it's
LOL.
good.
But anyways, my point is like we'll look back on Jordan Peele's filmography and be like, holy shit, like Get Out, his freshman debut, the movie that started it all. That's just great. That's really cool. So yeah, Get Out, definitely a classic.
Well, I'm going to keep things in the horror realm, and if we maybe want to pick this as a transition point, we can. Another 2022 film that I think will be viewed as a horror classic is one that we have previously done an episode on, and that is Barbarian.
Hell yeah.
Speaking of M. Night, who is a good director who's made a few good movies in recent years, I think that Barbarian has something in common with like The Sixth Sense, in that it's a movie where once you know kind of the twist, obviously the pivot in Barbarian comes earlier than it does in The Sixth Sense, but the movie is still good and arguably improves on a rewatch. Like having all that information makes it rewarding to return to. And I think that that's something that makes a film very rewatchable. Also, I think that like it's just going to stand the test of time with people who like horror films because it's incredibly well crafted and creative and it's crazy.
Yeah.
What movies go the direction that Barbarian goes?
Yeah.
Very few.
It's got like Wes Craven. It's got Hitchcock. It's got
Sam
so much
Raimi.
going for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that movie is absolutely going to be viewed as a horror classic.
Nice.
But you know what else I think is going to be viewed as a horror classic? Anyone?
Are you going to say The Holdovers?
No, but that is going to be viewed as a classic. It's going to be a Christmas classic.
Christmas classic. We haven't gotten one of those in so many fucking years, man.
That's so true.
True.
But no, Jordan Peele's Nope, a 2022 film starring Daniel Kaluuya and Keke Palmer. The description. A man and his sister discover something sinister in the skies above their California horse ranch, while the owner of a nearby theme park tries to profit from the mysterious otherworldly phenomena. So, all right, let's go around. We're going to start with Walter. Walter, when did you first see this movie? How do you feel about it?
All right. I think I saw this movie, let's see, it came out in 22, right? So I saw it in 2022. I don't think I saw it in theaters. I think I waited till it hit Peacock to watch it. And I really liked the film. I mean, it was a really good watch. It was one of the, I want to say, top 10 films that I put on my list that I do every single year on my Instagram. I can't remember.
Horror, follow him.
Yep. I don't remember what number I put it at, but I'm pretty sure it was in my top 10. And I really do love the characters played by Daniel Kaluuya and Keke Palmer. I mean, they were very entertaining. Brendan Pereira, he was very comedic. You know, he created comedic moments in the film.
Yes.
Steve Yeun, or I can't.
Yeah, Stephen Yeun.
Stephen Yeun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just know that he's invincible. That's about it. You know.
Oh fuck yeah!
More like
That show's so
Stephen
good.
Yeun.
When is that coming back?
Yeah. So he was an interesting character. The only character that really kind of like they were cool at first, but then they kind of pissed me off was I can't remember his name. I think it's Michael
Holst?
Wincott. Yeah, Antlers Holtz. That motherfucker pissed me off.
Yeah, that's a real DP. He's gonna fuck everyone else over to get his goddamn shot at Magic Hour.
Yep. So, yeah, I really do love the film. I do love the fact that they're blending sci-fi and Western with it because I do like Western movies to a certain extent. You know, I like movies like No Country for Old Men or Logan, which is like a neo-Western itself. So I really do like the fact that they kind of blend those elements together, also mixed in with the horror. So
yeah. Well, I myself was lucky enough to go to the cast and crew screening as somebody's arm candy. I looked gorgeous.
Hi.
Yes, that is right. Both Alexis Avizia and Mick Munyai worked on this film. You can see them in the credits.
That's right.
I'm first because my name is first alphabetically.
That's true.
Yeah, and every time I watch the credits, I'm like, holy shit, they spelt my name correctly. Like, it's incredible. That never happens to me.
I think the same thing.
Never happens. Yeah.
Well, I will just say that my first viewing experience, granted, I was in pretty ideal conditions to love this movie, but I was basically levitating after I walked out of this thing. This is my favorite movie of the 2020s. We all also do our best movies of the year lists. If you go back and listen to our best of 2022 episode, number one on the Zack list is Nope, baby. I just think that this is like everything I want out of a director getting the biggest budget they've had in their career. I think this movie is both incredibly ambitious and incredibly confident. I think where Get Out and Us are both like great commentaries on a specific issue, Nope has a lot of confidence in how it layers its themes throughout the text and explores a lot of different ideas without beating you over the head with them, and fundamentally just functions as a great surprise creature feature. Because let me tell you, the moment where this went from good to great for Zach is when I found out the Jean Jacket is not a ship. Jean Jacket is a big sand dollar floating around. He's a one-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater. I think that's such a creative twist. It's something I had never seen done before, and is both like incredibly surprising, thematically really resonant in a lot of different ways that I'm sure we'll get into, and like simplifies the whole movie. You don't have to worry about why are these visitors from another world here. It's Jean Jacket's hungry. Jean Jacket wants to eat some horses. So I just
Nom 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 nom.
I love this movie so much. But Mick and Alexis, please, your experiences with this film.
Well, I had just moved to Los Angeles and got a phone call from someone saying if I wanted to work in the illustrious and highly coveted department of COVID compliance. And to be honest with you,
no respect.
I was probably going to say yes regardless, but then I distinctly remember I was at a gas station. And I was on the phone and I said, "Oh yeah, sure. That sounds like a consistent job. What's the movie, by the way?" And they went, "Oh, this is Jordan Peele's next film." And I nearly dropped my phone, going, "Holy shit! Okay, yes, absolutely." And so getting to be a part of this movie from I'd say about a month before principal photography until I had to leave to go do that film in Mississippi that I talked about a little early, but. It's an absolute honor and a pleasure, and it was the first and remains to be the only time I've ever seen a movie of that caliber and budget being produced. It was, in fact, I think this was the first movie I'd ever worked on that I actually saw in the cinema, which was really, really cool. And also the only movie I've worked on that it got its own little theme park ride at Universal Studios, which is fucking crazy to like go to a theme park and walk through the sets that I walked through its set. So super cool experience with it. However, that's all the icing on the cake. Let's get to the cake. Having been a part of the movie in that capacity does color my perception and interpretation of the film watching it, because I don't love this movie as much as everyone else on this show. And I'm sure a lot of our listeners. I'm sure there's some listeners screaming at me right now, calling me all sorts of names. And trust me, I've been called worse. But
I'm going to call it worse.
Yes.
I really like the movie. You know, the more I watch it, the more I enjoy it. But I do think that a part of this struggle is like, as I watch it, I go, "Oh, I remember that day. It was really, really hot." Or I remember that day. I'm high. You know, I'm over there when we were shooting it, and because of that, my brain is someplace else, and I don't get to quite focus on the details. So it is a little bit of a blessing and a curse. So that's my relationship with the movie. It was a pleasure to work on it. It's a pleasure to watch it. I just wish I loved it as much as everyone else. But I'll go into why I don't really love it later on. Alexis.
Yes, this was actually the first movie that I ever worked on, which is kind of
It's
wild
fucking
when I'm
crazy.
like, "Oh yeah, the first movie I ever worked on is a Jordan Peele
Yeah,
movie."
nice
Like,
work
how
if you can fucking
bananas.
get it.
Yeah, like, yeah, so it kind of happened like really fast. Like I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna be moving down." I was trying to find a place. I had found a place, and then I was gonna kind of like mosey my way in after like going on a trip. But then I got a call, or the roommate had given my resume to someone on the COVID team, and they gave me a call, and like literally like at the end of the call, I had the job pretty much. And then like just I was like, okay, I guess I gotta get down to LA with my shit. So then I think I had finished like packing quicker so that I could make it down there for a COVID test so that I'd be able to start work within the next like day or so. And yeah, it was a wild ride. It was really fucking hot out there. I did the training like out on the set area, which is, it is wild to like watch a movie and then to see, because I do actually think that Nope is the only movie that I've worked on that I've actually seen what came of it after. It's kind of weird how that works in like the industry where it's like, oh, you don't get to see what you're working on for sometimes like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, there's only one movie I've worked on that I've seen as well.
That Emily the Criminal?
Yeah, which I did have the same experience as you have had with Nope, Mick, where a lot of people like that movie did pretty well like on the like indie award circuit. It got several like Independent Spirit Award nominations. And like, it's a good movie, but yeah, I couldn't shake like, oh, I was pounding tacos 10 feet away from where this like tense scene happened.
That blows my mind that you met my girlfriend before I did, because she was one of the makeup artists on Emily the Criminal.
Yeah, I didn't think she liked me.
Yeah,
and now I know she doesn't like me.
Yeah. Alexis, you were saying?
Oh yes. Sorry, I already forgot I was talking. I was assigned to the construction location, not set, which was fine. Like, to be honest, I got caught up with a lot of like TV shows and stuff in the in-between time of like making my rounds around to like double check everyone's like math situation. The construction guys were all super fucking nice. Like, I really got to talk to some industry people about just like, I don't know, just how things work and like what their kind of journey's been. And it was so nice. They were sweet. Most of the construction guys had just gotten off of working on Bullet Train, and then all the art department people that were there like went on to work on Oppenheimer next. I think, Mick, you said that a lot of the people that worked on Nope were Christopher Nolan's usual people.
Yeah, art department, camera department, G&E, special effects, VFX. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, honestly, what's kind of funny, watch the end credits of Nope and then watch the end credits of like Tenet or Oppenheimer or Interstellar, Dunkirk. It's like, it's the same people pretty much. It's pretty dope.
That's wild.
I've got to just like hats fucking off to Hoyte van Hoytema, because shot my favorite movie of 2022 and shot what I believe on our episode was my number 4, but probably on a rewatch is my number 2 movie of 2023.
Yeah.
That guy is just fucking such a visionary. I am so jealous, Mick, particularly because you were on set, that you got to see what they were doing with the day for night on this movie. Because you've talked about how, and I agree with this, that this is some of the best day for night ever captured on camera.
Yeah, I think it is the best day for night done. It's pretty crazy.
Is it as good as Point Break? Where everything's fucking blue?
Yeah, fuck, man, I forgot about Point Break.
You remember the scene in Point Break where they're surfing at night, quote unquote?
Yes. Just throw a blue filter on it. It's fine.
It'll be fine.
They won't know. But we'll get into that later. Will we? Yes. So they put a. We could
get into it now.
They put an infrared camera on top of the IMAX camera because, a lot of the big frame stuff they were shooting on IMAX, everything else they were shooting on 65 millimeter. Because Hoyte, as you know, or listeners would probably know, he will only shoot in film. In fact, in our living room right now, there is a spool of 65 millimeter film on the light that I was gifted from the film loader from that movie, unused film, which is pretty dope. But cool. They put a infrared camera on top of the IMAX camera, and as they shot it, they're getting data from the infrared, which picks up, obviously, radiation light that we can't see to the naked eye, and that's going to the VFX department, and then they're combining it with the footage that's being captured from the same exact angle from the IMAX camera, and then they do some VFX wizardry. I'm not going to pretend like I know what I'm talking about, but they combine the data, they put it together, and you have the lowest level of light detection on top of what you actually shot during the day, and so you can just do like the most convincing day for night, so that, as Hoyte talked about, you can watch it in the behind the scenes where, when you go out to the desert or you go out someplace where there's no light pollution and your eyes adjust to the moonlight and the starlight, and if only there was a camera powerful enough that could just capture that instead of that typical. You watch movies that take place at night, and we're so used to it because it's a visual language that we've just kind of come to accept, that there is moonlight that is about as tall as like a condor crane that's just showing this light through, because how the fuck else do you light a night scene? Well, Hoyte said, "Hold my beer," and they did something new.
Literally.
They literally kind of invented, as far as I know, I don't know if they were the first ones, but I'm pretty sure they were, to kind of use this technology in tandem with each other. Something, what we've been doing since the beginning of cinema, which is capturing film on celluloid in a chemical process versus an infrared camera, and combining those two things and creating some really, really awesome visuals. So yeah, that's pretty dope. Again, technically speaking, Nope is a masterpiece, and
is
it
groundbreaking.
really did push the bar of what can be done in a way. And so seeing that happen on set and then watching the final product is really incredible.
It's the first horror film ever shot on IMAX film.
That's right.
And I hope it won't be the last. Throw some fucking respect on horror movie studios.
I don't think it will be, because recently Christopher Nolan in an interview expressed his interest in one day attempting a horror film.
You know what I want to see that dude do, even maybe more than a horror movie? I want to see him do a comedy, because I feel like that'd be really hard for him.
Yeah, he says he's terrified of it. I don't think he would do that.
Challenge yourself, Nolan. Do it.
I don't know. I think if he makes a comedy, it's going to come out like Beau is Afraid or some shit like that.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And it would star Will Forte.
Oh my god. No.
Oh yeah, Walter, do you know that have you seen MacGruber?
No, I haven't seen MacGruber. I wasn't interested in seeing MacGruber, honestly.
Well, it's one of Christopher Nolan's favorite comedies.
Oh, wow.
Anne Hathaway has
Interesting.
stated that things are going well on a Christopher Nolan set when he starts quoting MacGruber to you, and I cannot
That's so
fathom what
funny.
lines he would be using.
That's hilarious. I can't even imagine it, honestly.
Wait. So before we wrap up the part, I never actually got to say what I thought of the movie the first time I watched it.
God.
I gave it a 4-star, which I think it just missed being in my honorable mentions that year, but I definitely didn't like it as much as you originally did, Zach. And you know what's interesting, though? I did really enjoy the magic of it, though, because being in the construction location, I really only got to see the plans for the builds. I didn't really step on the sets a lot and see things as what they were actually happening. I was really just seeing a lot of the conceptualization of it. So seeing it all put together was kind of like I feel like being just around the stuff that is little pieces of what it's going to be made me much more curious about what it would actually look like. So I think I had a lot of fun watching it for the first time, but I wasn't as impressed with it as you are, Zach. But now that I've rewatched it, I think it's actually a 4.5 to me. Because I think I also just have really sat with how incredible the technical work on it is, and then just exploring more of the themes has been wow. They're really the more that I've learned about the movie, the more I feel I like it even more.
Yeah.
Woo.
Well, I mean, speaking of the technical work and the craft of the movie, something that always impresses me with Jordan Peele is his craft as a screenwriter. I think that he is if you want to learn how to do setups and payoffs in a traditional 3-act structure, there are few people better. He knows how to just layer details in early that you don't really notice or think will be important that become exceptionally important later on. Obviously, the famous one in Get Out, there's black mold in the basement. But the other one in Get Out that I feel like I didn't remotely pick up on as, oh, this guy's going to be important later in the movie when I first watched it is Stephen Root's character, the guy who runs the art gallery, who ultimately wants to have his brain put into Chris's body so he can take photos. He wants his eyes. That is, again, he's introduced kind of casually as oh, this is another person who is sort of an outsider in this environment because he's blind. And then you realize why he is there, and you could never see it coming but it's layered in there so brilliantly. And I think he pulls a lot of similar tricks in Nope. You know, the Gordy storyline, you don't really see the connection until you get the reveal of what Jean Jacket really is. The way they introduced the Star Lasso experience in like some throwaway dialogue when OJ's going into Jupe's office to sell the horse. Like I just think that he is such a like tight, clean writer, and I think that is something that absolutely deserves praise in this movie particularly.
Yeah, it really does. He does show like immense discipline, like as a writer, because like you could, you know, oftentimes a compliment that is paid to a new film is, holy shit, the script, not a single line of dialogue is wasted, and Jordan Peele, I think, really epitomizes that. Like he really, that's kind of his whole thing, because like. Basically, what I do really like about the movie, from like the opening quote that you get, which is a Bible verse, "I will cast abominable filth upon you, make you vile, and make you a spectacle," is the central spine of the film, and it never tells you that. There's never a character that basically does this expose into like, oh, how this is all what this means. No, it's all there through like Gordy, through Jean Jacket, basically just like the spectacle and the ignorance of man, and just everything there is really, really well done. I got to give it props. It is really, really well done. Yeah, I mean, especially, I mean, that's all represented in Steven Yeun's character, which I think is partly my favorite part of the movie. You know what? I'll just go into it now. That I think my favorite cut of the film is when you see the flashback of after Gordy the ape goes apeshit and kills.
He's monkeying around.
Kills the cast members and spots young Jupe, who's hiding underneath the table, and comes up to him and submits. Doesn't attack him, but submits. Like puts his hand up, his hand, and Jupe touches it because the monkey's submitting to him. And in that moment, I think he gets this power complex. This Oedipus is his god complex, basically. And then you smash cut to the older Jupe, played by Steven Yeun, who is just looking off. He's in his own mind. It's almost like he's daydreaming. And Steven did such a good job of capturing this look of just absolute warmth and fondness of memory of this completely traumatic event that most people would try to like suppress that memory, but that was when he was sort of created. But I think that's kind of when his brain broke a little bit. But like that's how he survived, as he realized that. And you know, they talk about it in the SNL show, or the SNL did a skit about it. That Chris Kattan was fucking killing it. That
he murdered.
This horrendous thing could be monetized. This traumatic event captured the hearts and minds of the public, and it kind of became Jupe's image. And the really creepy, I mean, this guy, Jupe gives me the big ick, like especially when he takes OJ and Emerald into his shrine of his past, which literally has the little like shoe, the little slipper that still has like a dot of blood on it. And he's talking about it like so fondly, about like, this is almost like how my career got started. This is what paid for all of this. It's like, what the fuck? This is a gnarly character. He doesn't
really give me the ick.
Really?
You know? Yeah, I think because after I saw the movie for the first time, I wrote something about it for the website I had at the time, and I think I watched this interview, and Steven Yeun. I think it was like a round table with like Jordan Peele and like or like all the cast, and they were talking about. Yeah, I think it was just all the cast, and Steven Yeun was talking about how sometimes it's just easier, and I think he was talking about like how he drew from experience kind of on this of like you need to be what people want you to be, and that you can like lose yourself in that, and that like you kind of like have to adopt a persona. And I think that makes a lot of sense because like even though he did have this TV show as a kid, you know, what did he really do after that? Like the SNL skit took his trauma and made it a commodity and restructured his trauma into, you know, something that was, you know, entertaining, you know? And so how was he supposed to take back the power from that, but to commodify it himself, which is kind of like the, you know, snake eating itself kind of thing that you get. And, you know, he's just perpetrating the cycle. But I think he's kind of a tragic character in that way that like really he's just an Asian kid who, you know, let's be honest, like there's not that much representation and we're barely starting to get it kind of now, you know, in Hollywood. So like he's been pigeonholed as well. So it is interesting that him and the Hayward siblings are neighbors also, because if you think about it, like they've all been kind of ostracized from Hollywood in a way, and they're trying to make it work.
They were all kids in the industry as well. Like they were all working as children, which is something I didn't even really think about until you're saying that. Like you get your cutaways to OJ helping train the horses. Wait, side note, that's such a fucking funny detail. That OJ was training horses for the fucking Scorpion King, and then he is.
I love the fact that he's wearing a Scorpion King crew sweatshirt. That's such a fun little detail because, like, if you don't work in movies, maybe you're not like. You don't know about like all the merch that you kind of get sometimes. Yeah, I have
a RuPaul's Drag Race hoodie floating around somewhere. I can't find it.
As you should.
Yeah, no, I think that like. A couple of things. One, the fact that he is wearing a bright orange hoodie that says crew on the back at the end is another thing that I love about this movie. This is a film that is a love letter to below the line film industry professionals. People who aren't your, you know, directors, actors, even DPs, because the DP is the guy who fucks them in this movie. It's a love letter to, like, you know, the animal wranglers or, you know, the film loaders, as Brandon Perea kind of becomes in the final scene. And you get this, you know, big hero moment for OJ when he's doing the run, luring Jean Jacket out, which is like my favorite fucking scene of the decade. But you get this hero scene where he's riding the horse as this, you know, embodiment of the movie cowboy, and he's wearing a hoodie that says fucking crew on it. Like this is a movie that loves below the line people, and I think that's awesome. But it's also, as you know, as we've been talking about you know, Jupe having his kind of trauma commodified. It's also, you know, it's this really balanced and nuanced look at, you know, entertainment and the desire to create spectacle, because on the one hand, the way that the Haywoods are going to, you know, claim their place in this industry that has, you know, not acknowledged them or their family or black people at large throughout history is by owning this like terrifying spectacle and capturing it on camera. So there's a power and a positive element to being able to have the ability to create spectacle yourself and to capture spectacle yourself. But, you know, with Jupe, it's also this thing that, you know, consumes you and spits you out, and, you know, takes what it wants and leaves everything else, which is why Jean Jacket is such a good villain for this movie, because that's what he does.
There is the you know, I don't totally disagree with you though, Mick, about Jupe giving kind of the ick, because, you know, it is always rough when a character like takes meaning from something that should just be simple, and they believe in it so much as being like almost like fate that they create like an idol of themselves. And so that's what's interesting is that Bible verse at the very beginning. Supposedly that book, the Book of Nahum, is kind of about how the path of idolatry and exploitation only leads towards death and destruction. So there's like that kind of meaning under it as well. And so you have Jupe. I thought this I just caught this time, but that what happened, the incident with Gordy, was 6 minutes and 13 seconds of, what does he call it, Zach?
Pure, unadulterated chaos.
Yes. And then when the first time that Jupe actually has an audience for, I guess, the sacrifice of the horse.
The Star Lasso experience.
The Star Lasso
Listen, he
experience.
doesn't know that it's going to be a sacrifice. It just ends up that way.
No. I mean, he's intending to sacrifice the horse.
Yeah.
Lucky.
Yeah, so that's lucky. And he says that the first time that he encountered this creature was at 6:13 p.m. on like a Friday or something, right? And so it's immediately like his brain's just like making this connections that this is fate. And he has this weird moment with the fucking chimp. And Zach, can you tell me what this means when the chimp like punches his hand?
Well, Mick was saying that it's like a sign
submitting.
of submission.
It's a submitting.
Yeah.
But
okay.
I mean, the thing about that moment that Jupe fundamentally misunderstands is he thinks that this animal respects me. We have a connection. The exploding fist bump was a thing that they did on the show, but. Yeah. In reality, he's not looking Gordy in the eye. He's distracted by the shoe that's improbably standing up on its heel. So he's not looking Gordy in the eye, which is again a great fucking subtle setup. He's so good. He's cooking.
Jordan Peele's always cooking.
But yeah. Gordy, please.
Gordy. I have nothing more to say. I was I going to say something more? No.
Well, what else do we have, Walter? I feel like we've been.
I was going to say Walter.
Yeah.
Walter.
I mean,
get your opinions out, Walter.
I'll say, like, for me, going back to what you guys are talking about as far as like setup. I mean, I do like how Jordan Peele sets up a lot of things, especially when there's like a lot of parallels that he puts with his characters as well. So I would say like the thing that I noticed most about the film, going back to like how everything is a spectacle with like jean jacket, Gordy and everything. I saw it as like a way of like showing power of just taming, like taming of the horses, taming of the monkeys, taming of the lions, tigers, and bears, like in a circus and everything like that. And I do like the fact that you see that continuous parallel with not just like only the animals, but with like the people as well, with like Otis Sr. kind of like training OJ to be just like him, even though OJ is like, I don't think I could be just like him. I don't think this is anything I could live up to. But you get to see that kind of like taming and control. And I just do like the fact that you see that throughout the film, just in that kind of way. Another thing that I would say that I do like that I noticed was the Monopoly pieces. So there's a scene where they're all just planning out like their whole role on how they're trying to capture the creature and everything. Well, how they're going to capture Jean Jacket on camera. And if you notice, like they're all pulling out Monopoly pieces, setting it up on the map on what they're going to do. So OJ, he pulls out the horse, which is representing like him being like a trainer, someone that's going to manage everything. And I found that interesting that he pulled that piece out. What really caught my attention was when Keke Palmer pulled out the thimble. And as you know, the thimble kind of represents like a seamstress, someone who likes to sew. So she was pretty much like the person who sewed everybody into the mission. She brought in, she helped out OJ, but she brought in Angel
Holst.
for the technology from like fries and what have you.
Yeah, and she's the one who calls Holst. Yeah.
Yep. She brought in Antlers. Had him.
I saw your number on the call sheet.
Yep. So she's pretty much like the seamstress to the whole mission. Angel, he pulls out the top hat. Top hat represents like, wealth, richness, power, access. And as y'all know, like Angel, he had access to a lot of like the technological stuff that they needed, as well as like, I don't know if he bought this stuff. I mean, we pretty much know he probably most likely
He's
stole
stealing it from Press.
He's borrowing it. He's borrowing it.
Sorry, dead people.
I mean, I'm not gonna snitch on Angel or anything like that, but
He's a sweet boy.
Of course not.
Yeah, when he's loading the van with the gear and there's a police siren, he just drops the gear and like looks over. It's like, oh no, nothing. It's all fine.
So funny.
like, oh, I don't know what's going on. I'm just like, bro, you gotta play casually. Like, yeah, I'm just, loan this up for a customer, But Antlers, he picks up like the car, which is like, someone who's driving the whole mission together. So I really thought like the way Jordan Peele sets up everything for this film, especially like just like little elements like that, I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought up
attention to
Angel
detail.
because, it's so easy because we've seen it so many times where you have this really good story and then I feel like there should be some comic relief in this movie. Okay, I'll write a comic relief character that is trying to be funny, but really all they're doing there is to service the need of trying to lighten the mood and to not service the story. Angel is that comic relief character, but towards the end of the film, or just really not even the end of the film, but like as the movie's progressing, Angel becomes an integral part of, if I can call it, the mission. Because again, one of my favorite scenes in the film is when Angel just shows up out of the blue, not in his work uniform, because he's just in his plain clothes. So obviously he's been watching the feed, probably privately from his own home. And he's like, holy shit, I discovered something. Like, here, just come here. And finds the footage of the time lapse of how this cloud has not moved. And I love that scene, because then Emerald's like, that's it. We got the Oprah shot. And OJ's like, that's not it, but it's close. I've probably been staring at that cloud for weeks and I haven't even noticed it. And
such an eerie shot.
That's such a great moment. And fucking the comic relief character is the one that finds that. So he's competent. He's intelligent. Yeah. You're rooting for him. And then also, let's go into the comic bit. Like, he is low key, I think, one of my favorite characters. Like when he shows up the first time.
Oh, he's my favorite for sure.
And he just screams because he's going through this bad breakup. And they're like, you're going to need to not scream. Like, you're going to scare the horses. And then he's just like showing pictures to OJ of like his hot model ex-girlfriend. Like, yep, leave me for fucking.
Yeah, because she got hired by the CW.
Yeah,
Leave the
my
fucking
ass.
CW.
That's such a funny line.
Again, beefing with the network that produces Riverdale is really funny. It's, your life's in a bad place if you're losing out to the people who make fucking Legends of Tomorrow. You're in a bad place. You're in a rut.
I mean, it could be worse. It could be the Home Shopping Network,
Or that, yeah.
I mean, it could always be worse. It could always be worse.
HGTV, man. Fuck. But yeah, no. On set, we referred to Brandon Padilla as, his character's name is Angel, but we thought that was really fitting because he absolutely is an angel. He was so sweet. He was so game. Like, most of the stunts that he's involved with, he's doing. There was a stunt double that did a bunch of stuff that got in there, got dirty. Some of that stuff is used, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, like the scene where he gets wrapped in barbed wire and he gets whacked in the fucking face with a tarp, that's all practical. Like, he just kept taking a tarp to the face and rolling down this dusty-ass hill in Santa Clarita, or Agua Dulce, excuse me, again and again and again and again. And then
It's kind of scary.
yeah, and what was really cool though was how, you know, Zach, you mentioned briefly like his character at the end, he's helping Antler's host film the trap they've set, you know, to get the shot, because now they've gotten the star out of the trailer.
I love it.
As
It's a
Antler
movie.
says, which is a
It's
great
so
line.
good. Movie about making movies, one of the best.
And also, I'm getting sidetracked here with myself, but I really quickly, I love the fact that Emerald, you know, actually, Walter, the fact that you mentioned that she's like the seamstress in a way, I'm kind of like, she's kind of the, if what they're doing is an allegory for filmmaking, which is kind of like what Christopher Nolan does, she's kind of the production.
she's the editor.
She's the production coordinator here,
Oh, yeah,
because
yeah.
Is she?
when she,
definitely.
She's
when-
production coordinator. She makes costumes.
Yeah.
She makes a mean grilled cheese if you want.
She's absolutely the production coordinator when she's kind of on walkie yelling at Angel for, wait a minute, we don't have video? What do you mean we don't have video? So we're not getting a live feed from fucking the film camera? And he's like, I'm sorry, I was doing like 10 other fucking million things and wiring all these goddamn wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tubes, man. I didn't have time to do that, okay? It's just on film. So I was like, that's a production coordinator being like, are you fucking serious right now? Fuck. All right, whatever. Just get the shot, get the shot. But
Hey, she
Angel,
was
he's
pissed,
up
though,
there on his perch.
host when they were trying to figure out like, yo, did you get the shot or did you not get the shot? You know?
we gotta keep things on schedule. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
The production coordinator's annoyed with the fucking DP trying to fucking sneak an extra shot in there. We're supposed to be done for the day.
But yeah, it's that when he's up there on the perch and he has to reload the film for Antlers, he does it, and you know, when you do change out a film magazine, if you've noticed in the movie, there's this like tiny little tent that he sticks his arms into because he's changing the film, and you can't do that by looking at it because the whole point is sticking your hands in this little tent that's completely shut out from all the light, because if you expose film prematurely to light, it gets completely ruined. And Brandon, who plays Angel, didn't need to know how to actually load film, but in real life, he decided that I want to learn how to actually like reload film. So the film loader, Bobby Pavlovsky, helped him, like taught him how to reload an IMAX film magazine. And so many times we'd be on set and we'd be walking by the camera truck, and in between scenes, Brandon would be on the camera truck, like fucking feeling around for it and stuff. And you never see it. You never see it on film or in the movie, but he wanted to know how to do that. And that was when, at least I personally was like, that guy's really cool. Like, that's a guy who gives a shit on a movie that kind of you should be given. I mean, you should give a shit on every movie you're involved with, but sometimes they don't happen. But for this, it did, and it's fucking dope. Yeah. So cheers to Brandon for that.
Mick, you've talked a lot about how lovely many people on this film were. You know, you were telling us a story about how Jordan Peele was helping you fucking carry an Easy Up, which is like, that's not a director's job. That's a PA job, and you know the fact that he's willing to lend a hand in that way. That's someone who, and he's, you know, he was a fucking actor too. Like, you know, he is someone who has been in the industry for a long time, but, you know, has not allowed celebrity to change him. And I think that's awesome.
I think sometimes, well, not sometimes, I think that actors tend to make some of the best directors because they kind of understand, you know, how to talk to an actor better, but also because I think that they understand that art truly is like a collaborative process, and that change is not bad. Like, it is good to have like a clear vision. Obviously, like, I think we can all agree that, you know, Jordan Peele always has like a clear vision of like what he wants to do, you know, whether or not we see it, it might be a different story. But when Brandon came in for his audition, I think this was during the roundtable thing that I watched, Brandon did his read, and then Jordan was like, oh yeah, that's absolutely like not what I was intending the character to be. Like, I kind of wrote him as this like happy-go-lucky thing, and Brandon was like, oh, I can totally do that over again. He was like, no, I'm gonna go rewrite my script. Like just immediately like loves where the actor like took that character instead and the read that he gave with whatever he was given, and was like, I'm gonna just change this because I actually like that better. And I mean, obviously I like it better that the character is somebody who, instead of being happy to help them, is kind of like, well, what the fuck do you want, and is a fucking kind of weirdo, we needed the comedic relief, and I think it makes the character more real.
Well, what I love about that footage, you can find it online, listeners, but if you recall, Jordan Peele gaslights Brandon a little bit, because he's like, hey, I liked your audition. It's really good. You brought something that I didn't even intend or think about. So, unfortunately, Brandon, if I were to cast you, I would have to I'd have to do rewrites and stuff. And you can see Brandon just dying inside, like, fuck, I fucked myself. Okay, yeah, no, totally, I get it. And then Jordan Peele goes, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to rewrite it, and you're hired. And you can just see him blow up, so cool. Yeah, honestly, listeners, that's Alexis. You're so right. That's a really charming video. Yeah.
This was Brandon Pereira's first big film. However, you did get to work with a very established actor who has been a staple of genre cinema for decades and decades. He's been in They Live. He's been in The Thing. He's been in The Quick and the Dead, another Western film.
Yeah,
you worked with Mr. Keith David.
Yeah, that's right. So in the last episode, you recall that I'm not going to be participating in this episode unless the movie we covered had Keith David in it. Well, thankfully, we're in luck.
Good news.
Keith David, he is an interesting fellow, I will say. I mean, first of all, what was kind of crazy about it was there was one day that we were shooting a scene. There was a lot of helicopter stuff in this movie. To just get aerial shots. And one day while the camera was being reloaded, I kept wearing graphic design t-shirts of horror films and stuff. And eventually Jordan Peele and I struck up some conversations about horror movies. And while we were waiting for the helicopter to get reloaded, he looked back at me because he had some time to kill, which was rare for a director. And he said, by the way, what is your favorite horror film? And I said, honestly, it would have to be John Carpenter's The Thing. And I asked him his, and he said his is Alien, which is he was like, at the end of the day, I know most people think it would be a more abstract answer from me, but you just can't get better than Alien. But I like that we both picked sci-fi horror films, and I like that the film I picked is a John Carpenter movie that has Keith David playing Childs in it. And getting to meet Keith David when I went to his trailer to get him to COVID test was the first time in my whole career that I'd been properly starstruck, because he's laying down on his bed in his trailer, and I go, Mr. David, would it be okay if you would COVID test? And he just gives this big sigh. Little spoiler alert: Keith David wasn't too hot on the whole COVID thing. He didn't like the whole COVID. He didn't like the whole COVID
you sticking
compliance
shit in
thing.
his nose every day.
Yeah,
as someone who worked COVID department, very few people like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He is a grumpy old man, and I wouldn't want him any other way. I hope you know how loving I say that. But yeah, working with Keith David was just being around him. I'm not even working with him, but just seeing him on set. Had me nervous because of who he is, had the crew nervous because of how renowned he is, and it had Jordan Peele nervous. I'm pretty sure. I never heard him say I'm nervous to be around him, but you could just kind of tell with his his body language. My favorite story from making that movie, getting to be a part of it, was the scene where in the very beginning, spoiler alert, if you have not seen Nope, you
if you
probably
haven't
haven't
seen
been
the
listening
first,
this far yet.
6
Keith
minutes
David,
ago.
Otis Sr., he dies early in the film. He gets punctured by a coin. straight through the head. And so we're shooting this hospital scene at Universal Studios in one of the office buildings that they've reconverted to a hospital. And we hear that Keith David is out of makeup. He has his prosthetic eye. He's coming up the elevator. And so kind of like the whole set went quiet because this was like day, I want to say like 3 of shooting. And Keith David was there. He comes up. He has this horrific eye injury. And everyone's just like kind of like not even like making eye contact with him. And he sits down and he just kind of like leans back in the most relaxed, like he just splays his feet straight out and he just kind of leans back like that. And Jordan Peele walks over to him and Hoyta's over there and the camera's being set up on a dolly looking down at the hospital bed. And he goes, hey, Keith, how you doing? You look great. So we have how we're going to shoot this is the camera's going to be on top looking down. That's going to be our first setup. We're probably only going to do like 2 or 3. The next one will be of Daniel's coverage. We'll get that, and then we'll probably finish with the wide. I think that's probably what we're going to do. We're going to do it in that order, and then it'll be in, it'll be out. And Keith David just kind of he sighs and goes, "It's not how I would shoot it." And in that moment, like Jordan Peele, like does it's like, yeah, all right, here we go. And then he just like walks away, a little bit like I don't know what to say to that. Is he joking?
That would be my exact reaction. It's like he would say that, and what I would hear is. Start eating that trash can.
Yeah, for real.
Because like, honestly, is he gonna start wailing on me like I'm Rowdy Piper?
Seriously, like I really think he was. In fact, I know for a fact, like he was fucking with Jordan Peele. Like he wouldn't shoot it like a different way or whatever. He didn't give a fuck. But just like you hear those, like I hear stories like that of. I had an AD friend who worked with Danny DeVito recently, and apparently Danny DeVito does the same kind of shit. Like you'll tell him this is how we're gonna do it, and then Danny DeVito will just be like, I mean, yeah, if you want to fuck up the day, sure, let's do it that way. It's fine. But like those old timers, man, they got that. They just, I love how they just fuck with you because they're just testing you. You know,
yeah, they know that you have a reverence for them. And
yes,
like. I feel like if people were like treating me like I'm fucking, hot shit all the time, I'd be like, I can fuck with people now.
You can, and they do, and it's hilarious. He's fantastic. I just wish he was in the movie more. I will admit, when I finally saw the movie, I was like, man, they did him dirty. They fridged him.
Die so soon.
I know.
You can always use more Keith David. You know what I could have used more of? It's my one complaint with the movie. The song Sunglasses at Night. I was listening to that at the gym today.
Yes,
I went to the gym today, and I threw that
song
on when I was on the treadmill. I love that song.
To be honest, that song made its way onto my top songs of 2022 because of that movie.
Fuck yeah.
Like, I definitely had that song on repeat. It was a little earworm. I love that it gets, like, left on, like, during that scene, and it's just kind of the haunting sound you can hear coming in and out of the scene of Sunglasses
it's
at Night.
bookended by Sunglasses at Night. Speaking of music... sorry, go ahead.
So one of my favorite just like funny moments for me is when the fucking the DP guy is Anders
Holt.
What is it? Antlers Holt. Yeah, that guy, the moment he sees the fucking like sun kind of starting to, I don't know, set a little, he's like, here it is.
It's almost magic.
It's gonna be magic. It's gonna be magic. And like for real, like I've dated a pretentious photographer before, and they're exactly like that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
It was like the moment when like I watch Barbie and the guy and fucking Ken just starts bringing out the guitar. I'm just like, I've seen this before.
I'm gonna play my camera at you. Yeah. Yeah, that's that.
And then he just gets sucked up, and he has the shittiest shot ever. And I was like,
yeah,
"That's
it's a bad shot. It's a bad shot."
Yeah, it's a Tarantino shot. It's just feet.
As I've said before, like that is probably the beautiful death of any self-respecting DP. which is to be holding a handheld film camera, basically shoulder rig kind of thing at magic hour, looking up at this creature as it's sucking you up, and that's your death. Yeah, that's probably how every DP would want to go.
Jesus.
Getting that shot.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, damn, he totally dicked up. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, no, like looking
hubris
back,
of man.
looking back to like my initial thoughts of the film, because when I first saw it, I was a little bit, I was a little mid on it. And I'm trying to like put myself back in that headspace, and I really think that like the way Antlers went out really just like bummed me out, man. I was like, that's so dumb. That's so dumb. But it's not bad writing. That's good
true to
writing.
life.
It's just a dumb person.
Yep.
I also love the scene where Emerald, going back to the other scene, is like on the phone with Antlers for the first time, and it's like pitching him a gig. It's like, what is this? Oh, it's
reality.
It's reality. And he goes, ugh. And then Audrey's like, documentary, and she's. No, a documentary. And he goes, all right, that's better. And it's like, stroke his ego. You got to get him there. Oh, man. And then, a little tidbit that Antler's whole costume is modeled after Hoyte van Hoytma's fit that he wears on set every day. So what Antler's Holst is wearing is what Hoyte is wearing. And there were these great moments where the two of them were like standing next to each other posing. Damn.
I really like that Jordan Peele went to Hoyte van Hoytma during pre-production and was like, if you were trying to capture a UFO on film, what camera would you use? And that's how they end up using this non-electrical IMAX camera because Hoyte van Hoytma was like, well, I would use an IMAX camera because the image is so big, I wouldn't miss anything. I have to shout out Michael Abels, who's done the music for all of Jordan Peele's movies, and I think that his music here is like probably my favorite score of any of Peele's movies. I think the piece of music for OJ's Run when he's drawing Jean Jacket out is just so perfect because it's this scene of this, iconic black actor embodying this role of the cowboy, which has traditionally always been a white person, and drawing out, this big alien ship. It's essentially all of these big blockbuster genres being taken together and remixed and reclaimed by probably the currently most influential working Black American director. And like the score that goes along with that just fucking fits perfectly. Like it has these kind of ominous horror tones, these like low boom, boom tones, but it also has like this kind of like, I don't know what the instrument would be, like a cymbal or a triangle, like this just kind of like kicking little score that like makes it sound like a Western score. It's just like, it's such a fucking phenomenal piece of music. There are really no details I have to complain about in this movie other than the, brutally short use of sunglasses at night.
I
like that song.
What you say, like he's the most influential, like currently working like black director, like right now, like up in like new people on the block kind of thing. It kind of reminds me of what we talked about in Barbenheimer of the special sauce that Greta Gerwig has, is that she can do an art film and then can be given the keys to like a really big budget studio picture and will run with it and do a pretty damn good job. And that kind of reminds me of Jordan Peele in a sense, because what he does, and it's different than the Greta Gerwig thing, but what he does is he does these movies that are completely original. They're from his mind, so he has authorship. He has a director's vision, and he creates these movies that are commercial successes and critical darlings.
And he is the brand. I think
Yeah,
that's the other
exactly.
thing. Is,
yeah, it's. I mean,
like-
I honestly, there was this YouTuber a while ago that reviewed to a trailer. I think it was when Dunkirk first came out. When the trailer hit, Christopher Nolan's name came up, and the YouTuber was like, it said something I'll never forget, which says, "Okay, Christopher Nolan, he knows who the true star of this movie is, which is himself."
Yeah.
And it's like the same thing with Jordan Peele. Like when you see that, like, you know, from the director of Get Out, Us, and Nope, the next time we see that in front of a trailer, you know the people are going to go, "Oh shit, okay. I mean, I don't need to see it now. I will go. What's the name? It's that. Okay, yeah, I'll go
it's
see
Jordan
it."
Peele. Yeah.
You know, to be honest, if any of the listeners have not actually like watched any interviews with Jordan Peele talk about his movies, or even specifically talking about Nope, you really should go check them out, because like Greta Gerwig, I also just really love listening to his interviews, because you can tell that he has like a lot of care and attention and research into the things that he writes about, and like that it's not just like that he has like an artistic vision, but he has like a goal in mind, which is to basically subvert the genre, because for the longest time you really haven't seen like Black people in the horror genre as like the main heroes and everything, and he's trying to I don't know. He's in a position of power, and he is trying to help other people get into these positions of power and sight. So I don't know. You should really listen to him. He has great insights, and you can tell that like he has a lot of empathy and for people, and a lot of love for cinema.
He rules. He's got the juice.
Yeah,
He does have the juice.
I will say though. All right, Zachary, go ahead.
Oh no, you go ahead.
If it's okay, I'm gonna be the party pooper now, and I do have to air my grievances that I still have with this film.
Poop elsewhere.
Don't get me wrong. Again, if I on a star rating system out of 5, this is a solid 4. Which, as I have in my letterbox, that is considered a great movie. So I think that Nope is a great movie, but my problems with it are minor, but they still make the ending a little deflated for me, and I want to hear your guys' reactions to it, because I know you're not going to like it.
I don't. I already don't. I'm fucking mad already. I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take it anymore.
The TMZ guy that shows up on the end with the shiny helmet, yes, it's funny, but it does feel a little bit Deus Ex Machina-ish. Not that it saves the day. It's actually quite the opposite. It seems like a convenient, like, inconvenience, if that makes any sense, to just kind of throw one last conflict in their plan. It just feels a little forced to me. But I do love that when he has injured himself horrendously after the bike went through the EMP, all the biker can say is like, "Why aren't you filming this? Why aren't you filming this?" Says a lot about him. Says a lot about paparazzi types in general, frankly. And then the ending, where the sand dollar jean jacket kind of unfurls into this orchid, is beautiful. It's not necessarily what I wanted, but the main thing for me is I just don't love the dramatic heft that we're supposed to be getting from Emerald when she's cranking that like token operated camera machine in the well at Jupiter's claim to get the image of the giant floating Jupe going into the sky, and then this big orchid-looking alien coming in to get it. It's like, we already got the footage on the IMAX camera, and you already got that great stuff. But even if you did lose it, that image, that final image, me personally, if I saw this posted on New York Times, on Washington Post, going, here it is, here's this image that has been captured of an alien, I would look at it and go, I mean, okay, I don't know. I don't think it's I don't think that's the Oprah shot.
You being fucking cold and,
I'm sorry.
and desensitized.
I'm just saying, I don't think that's the Oprah shot.
If you went through all of that fucking trouble to get a shot, aren't you gonna get a backup? Like, what the fuck? Like, they literally do that on film sets. They have backups of all the shit, you know? Like, because you never know if something's gonna get lost.
Dude, I know. I don't have a problem with that. My problem is my problem.
And to be honest,
I
with
learned
the
a lesson about this
paparazzi,
as well.
How many times have you ever like seen a celebrity and you think to yourself, you know what? Who's going to ruin their day? Probably the fucking paparazzi. They're just going to pop out of fucking nowhere and ruin the goddamn shit. You think to yourself, oh yeah, what's going to go wrong with, you know, trying to capture an alien on camera? Probably something to do with our plan. Not a fucking piece of shit paparazzi. But of course, that's who's going to stumble in to try to get the little taste of exploitation here and spectacle. So I think it kind of works perfectly. The more I've watched this movie, the more I'm just like,
my
yeah.
problem isn't that why would they bother with a backup? I totally buy that. My problem is that the backup isn't good. Like, as with any backup camera angle that you get, it's not as good as the OG. And in this instance, I don't find it as convincing. I'm just saying that I don't think it's the Hail Mary. It does not translate to me as the Hail Mary that I think it's supposed to be. But,
I mean, I think it's supposed to be because it's a Polaroid shot, and you can't really Photoshop a Polaroid
Yeah, how are you going to fake that? It came out of a well.
I'm sorry, Walter. I don't buy that because the thing is like people wouldn't be going around and looking at this Polaroid. It would be scanned and then it would be put online and then.
But I mean, in terms of how it's verified.
Exactly.
Okay,
How is it verified?
If we're getting deep into like the fucking like how is the world going to react, the world's always going to be like, oh, is it real? Because people love to be fucking contrarians like you, Mick. But you know, I think that like I don't know, that works for me. I think that going back to the TMZ guy, I think that exemplifies a like screenwriting rule that I enjoy that the Pixar guys talked about. It's in like, I don't remember who it was, but someone who worked at Pixar in the early days released like their however many rules for storytelling. And one of the rules that I often think about when I'm writing a script is always use coincidence to get your characters into trouble, not to get them out of it. And I think him showing up out of the blue, one, I buy because you have this, you know, mysterious thing that's happened. There's starting to be more press attention on this little valley.
Yeah.
But like also it is, it's something that comes out of the blue that complicates their plan.
It's unexpected.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't make anything better. And it does allow for the Akira bike slide, with which rules.
Exactly.
I mean, it
Jordan
does give a
Peele
motorcycle.
is so cool.
Yeah.
He's a cool guy. I like him, and I'm jealous you got to meet him.
Yeah.
You know, I never got to meet him. But also, I mean, in general, the picture theme just works because the monster gets yoked, like, right in that moment. And it's just such a good moment. Like, you know, the creature's like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking eat this giant fucking thing. And it goes to do its little schlump and then just fucking pops like a goddamn balloon. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's beautiful, but I just, you guys aren't, I don't know. I'm not being convinced here.
I think you're a cynical man. I think you're just a cynical man.
I just feel like your argument is standing like on a haystack.
I mean, not really. I mean, I think it would be better, honestly, is if it wasn't a Polaroid, if they got footage of that. Like, a picture is, you know, sure, it's worth 1,000 words, but I don't know. It's just like...
You're saying you hate photography. You hate photographers.
I don't hate photography. I'm just saying that...
Photographers, again, his Instagram is Mick T. Munyai. You reach out to him again. He's problematic.
I wish that the Hail Mary it's hit me emotionally just a bit harder than it does. Because I think that's what's holding me back from the film. And that doesn't even have anything to do with me being involved with it in the production. I just think the ending it's just not my favorite. You get this huge triumphant scene at the end, and then... and then it's changing. Then you get like the square eye of the monster of Jean Jacket that we've been seeing already in multiple shots of this like corrugated plastic looking eye thing, which is really cool, and how it's changing sides, and we're getting this like completely wacky creature that's like nothing we would ever imagine to be a being, like a carbon-based being or anything like that. And then Emerald's she's screaming to OJ, and her eyes are welling up, and she's just giving such a fucking powerful performance as she gets on that bike. It's all great, but then at the very end, it's just like.
So where we're at, Mick has completely frozen.
Wait, really?
I'm gonna cut his audio out.
So dumb.
It totally went to sunglasses at night.
Oh well, at least my audio's still working, so that counts.
Oh, there he is! There he is!
I think Jean Jacket was over there, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you literally were frozen like this.
Listen.
So I was getting beamed up. Hell yeah.
Well, Mick,
So funny.
it seems like you were making bad points because the
Yeah,
internet
it sounds
did
like
not
it's-
want to hear from you.
Wasn't coming across. But anyways, yes, I wish I loved the ending as much as everyone else. I guess it's my problem.
It's okay. I feel like I had a greater understanding and like appreciation for this movie because I hadn't seen either of the movies that Jordan Peele had said that like he was kind of drawing a little bit from, which was the classics Jaws and Close Encounters of a Third
Don't listen
Kind.
to our Jaws
And
episode.
I watched. Oh my god! And God damn it! You keep making this joke, and I really can't tell if you're being
It's
for
not
real
a
or not.
joke. It's not a joke. This movie is so much like Lake Placid. Watch it, people.
Yes, but did he actually say that this
No,
was part
he
of
didn't.
his?
He didn't have to. He didn't have to.
Stop trying
Wake up, sheeple.
Stop trying to bamboozle me.
Lake Placid is like also riffing on Jaws, I'm pretty sure.
So yeah, I'd never seen Jaws before, but it totally, like the third act of Jaws and the third act of Nope are structurally so similar because it is a creature movie. And I didn't get to watch all of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, but you know, I get it with the aliens and shit.
Lovely.
Aliens and shit.
Well, we've been going for a pretty long time. Rapid fire. I'm going to go from the bottom of my screen to the top. Walter, any final thoughts on Nope?
Final thoughts. Fucking classic. I mean, honestly, I feel like it is definitely like a classic or about to be either a cult classic, honestly, for like as far as like black cinema, black sci-fi, black horror movies. So definitely a movie you could watch over and over again, find new things and appreciate it, you know, so yeah, I mean, if anybody who haven't watched it yet, I mean, I don't know who hasn't watched this movie yet. I mean, if you haven't watched it yet, you're sleeping. But yeah.
For real.
Yeah, if you haven't watched it yet, definitely check it out.
All right, Mickey boy.
Damn good movie. Worth checking out. Yeah, basically everything Walter said. If you haven't seen it yet, you should definitely check it out. But I think my main takeaway is I'm just really excited to see what Jordan Peele has next. Because, as I've said before, not on the show, but for a while, Christopher Nolan was someone that I found to be immensely frustrating because he kept making movies that were so close to being perfect, to me personally, and he never seemingly got there just because of certain creative choices he did that just I didn't jive with completely. And then he made Oppenheimer, and it was like, oh, this is finally the movie that I was hoping he would make. I haven't gotten that from Jordan Peele yet. The closest I've had is Get Out. I really, really love Get Out. It's still my favorite. Nope is my second favorite, and then Us is ranked third currently. But I know that Jordan Peele is... He will one day give me the movie that I'm like, okay, now I finally get it. Now I finally see why so many people... Now I finally agree why so many people are saying that he's kind of like the modern horror master. Because I've heard that title been bestowed upon him. And I'm not quite there yet, but he's well on his fucking way. I can't wait to see what else he's got.
Is this?
Yeah, I love Keke Palmer so much. I want to see her in more things. Please, universe, give me more Keke Palmer, because I love the Angela Bassett fucking impression that she does. And at the very end, when she's kind of like screaming at the monster, it's giving me a little bit of that impression, and I really love that.
That's so funny.
Also, just in general, the first day that I was on doing COVID and I was like wiping down like handlebars on some of the trailers, she walked by and I was like, she's so beautiful in real life.
Yeah.
So love Keke Palmer.
I saw her at
and
some
also,
restaurant I went to.
Yes. Love Jordan Peele. He wrote this story during the pandemic and said that he wanted to represent Black joy and to represent Black adventure and Black aspiration and Black excellence in it as well, and human nature overcoming its obstacles. So it really is a piece of its time. And I love that kind of like one of the last images of iconography, which for the movie, like based on the original quote, you know, idolatry and this stuff will kind of lead to your downfall. But the last like image of iconography we have is this glorious, just like Black cowboy. So like kind of reclaiming that and subverting it is great. Love it. Live for it.
Yeah. Yeah, modern masterpiece. To me, this is Jordan Peele has made a perfect film. Can he do it again? I fucking hope so. If he can give me another movie I like as much as Nope, I will be surprised, because I love this movie. It's beyond entering my favorites of the decade. It's really entering just like all-time favorites. I really love this movie. I think that it is, it's going to, Walter, as you were saying, this, you know, horror boys gotta stick together, and this is gonna be a horror classic. And yeah, I'm so happy this exists. It feels like it was really made to appeal to many things that I love. It even gets some like gooey practical horror in when they're getting sucked up into Jean Jacket's digestive tract. Mick,
yeah.
I'm with you. Can't wait to see what Jordan Peele does next. But Walter, thank you so much for coming on our show. Really
Thanks for
appreciate having
me.
you here
Yeah,
for
thank
the
you, man.
second time. You committed. You got here late at night. It's,
Yep.
Yeah, thank
getting
you.
into the witching hour. So please, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Instagram, TikTok. That is Walterdoom Horror. I am also on YouTube as Walterdoom Horror. The podcast is called Let's Talk About Horror. You can find that on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere where podcasts are streaming, wherever Spotify for podcasts is distributing my podcast. Just look for Walterdoom Horror. You'll find it there. And there's nothing else I can really add, but I am just a sneak peek. I am planning on rebranding the show a little bit. So there might be a bit of a name change. So not really releasing that name out just yet, but I am still working on that. But just to let y'all know, your boy is still gonna be doing his thing, but it's just gonna be
Still cooking.
Yeah. So it's gonna be a little bit of changes. That's about it.
Well, I'm glad that I have a new friend to keep me company when I walk to the gym. I'm excited. I'm gonna listen to the podcast, Mick. Don't make that face. It's normal and fine. You're the weird
Mick,
one.
don't be jealous just because, somebody else is going to be Zach's little worm ear instead of your voice.
Yeah, Mick, don't worry. I'll listen to you too, buddy.
I hate all of this.
Well, as previously stated, we are at the end of Black Cinema Month. And next month is our Audience Select Month. Now, we are recording this before the results are finally in on Thursday, but
I am terrified.
this is where I will insert.
I'm so
I
excited.
haven't been this terrified since like the lead up of like the election between Trump and Hillary. This is 2016
gross
all over again,
exaggeration.
man.
The
Oh my
stakes
God.
are a lot lower, buddy.
They are.
Also, I don't know
But
why,
I'm
I don't
just
know
as
why you're
frightened.
scared. I mean, in that situation, the guy who you love won, and you've said that. You always
Hillary
say that.
didn't win.
You're
And that's
always
the guy
saying
I
how
love.
much you love. Anyways, I'm gonna stop trying to get Mick canceled on the podcast. But
Yeah, we can't. You can't double down on him. He does it enough himself.
anyways, next month's theme will be musical march. And
Oh my gosh, it's happened.
it's definitely happened. And
This theme is what, honestly though, out of all of the themes that we had, like to vote for as like candidates, this is like definitely one of them.
it's for sure one of them. All right. And our first movie of March will be Bob Fosse's Cabaret, starring Liza Minnelli. And you can rent it wherever you rent your movies.
Oh hell yeah! And or oh no!
Well, as I just stated, those are the places you can find that movie. And if you want to find us, the Film Major, the Film Major? Jesus, I'm getting tired. The Film Majors, you can find us at Film Majors Pod on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and TikTok. And if you want to reach out to us via email, you can email us at filmmajorspod@gmail.com. And with that,
Woo.
let's get the fuck out of here.